So I'm ready to go, guys. I got my root beer. This is Henry Weinhard's root beer, gourmet stuff, none of that rubbish from A&W. They used to be great, but they sold out and they got wimpy, and that's a real shame. You can see that I'm still working on my oil painting here from last time. Lucky you guys. We also have some people that sent in stuff to look over, critiques. That's a standard part of this live stream here. Let's look at this one right here. The guy sent this in right here, and I don't know how he happened to find it. I don't think he's the one that owns it, but a guy from Spain wrote in here and said this they posted this image, and almost immediately it started getting a lot of attention. That's what I like to hear. Something new for us, for sure. Likes, shares, people responding from it all over. There's something about the rhythm, the expressions, the storytelling that speaks a visual language people recognize right away. And I might add universally. So that's a great compliment. You really can't get compliments higher than that. All right, so yeah, that's very nice. Thanks for sending that in. You guys want to hear some comments? Patreon people comments. These are the guys that pay at least $5 a month to keep us going here. This one's from Tanner Manning. He's talking about the charcoal drawings that I did last time or a couple weeks ago. Charcoal is a predecessor to oil painting. Oftentimes, it's a malleable medium that you can smudge and get really dark stuff, and you can carve it out with an eraser and things like that. So it's very similar to what we do with the paint here. Only thing missing is the color, but that's how we were trained to work with charcoal in the various art schools I've been to. I'm glad they taught us to it because it's one of those methods that goes back a long time, way back a long time ago. Charcoal was around for a long time. It's basically a charred stick of wood, and they found a way to make it work. Of course, nowadays we have things many times beyond the quality of the tools they had back then. I don't know if it makes for better artists, but at least the tools are better. Tanner goes on to say, "I wonder, have you ever done a piece using white charcoal on top of a black surface?" Um, yes, I have. That's another one of the many art school assignments we got. If you go to a good art school, they'll train you to do everything. Um, and basically, nothing should be omitted from that training because the idea is that they train you so well that once you're out of school, you're on your own and you've learned things that you keep in check, you keep in your back pocket for the rest of your life. And to me, art school was just the beginning here. It was something that I went on to do many times over at many different schools because I hadn't learned enough of what I needed to learn right here. Um, Franz Knoll, very good supporter of our live streams here, and another huge Patreon member. These were his comments. I don't solicit these folks; they just come in. Franz says, "As I look at your work, I often try to identify what makes it good, so special. But when I search for the right words, I realize your own description is exactly right. Well, once I can remember what that description is, tell me, because I forgot it. It's the staging and pacing, the emotional tone, the sound, silence, and timing, and how the reader's eye moves across the page. If I may add, it's like acting." Very well said. I wish I could write this well. A crucial part of cinematic storytelling is knowing how good the actors are. This applies to films, TV shows, as well as comic art. There's a natural feel to the way your characters move, feel, and interact with each other. They're not only believable, then you draw in and make them care about them. I think this is the most difficult aspect of comic art, the thing most artists don't achieve, the thing that can't be taught. Um, those are very astute comments, and there's a huge amount of truth to those things. There's a lot of things that can't be taught, but most things can be taught. Um, if somebody's having trouble with something, you at least need to be a good enough teacher to get them on the right path, a very basic, fundamental, simple path. Don't make it complicated, make it simple. The simpler you can make it, the better he'll remember it then. What those things were that you were taught. And then you go on to learn more about those fundamentals. Hopefully never forgetting the things that go way back to the most simplest way to solve things. Um, because when I get in trouble, when I've gotten in trouble over the years with paintings or drawings or anything, I at some point realized that if I go way back to the beginning, the very simplest of things that make something work, then I'm most likely always going to solve it. And that was a great moment when I figured that out. Comments from the Twitterverse. Well, I never saw that name coming. By Zalin Dark. Well, I think my mom won this Christmas. She gave me one of my all-time favorite gifts ever, a commissioned painting from one of my all-time favorite artists, Steve the Dude. Oh, it's I guess they did a painting of a Ralph, which we call a basset hound here, and it's perfectly done. What more could a man possibly need? I think that's Ralph is actually over there. You see Ralph down there? Basset hounds are called Ralphs, and I want you guys to remember that because I want you to call them Ralphs too. So very nice. It came for Christmas, and believe me, I can thank Janelle for that timely arrival. So this guy Stephen Nagy writes in, "Happy birthday! We need another reprint on your drawing anatomy book. They're all sold out." Yes, they are. I couldn't be happier. But yeah, we'll do something about getting those to people that didn't quite get them in time. Some guy writes in without a real name right here. I can't understand the name, but your conversation is priceless information. You drop valuable lessons just in a casual presentation. To hell with those genius to the genius audience. They're grabbing onto every syllable you utter. Is that true? You guys really doing that? Well, you guys need a life. No, it's very nice to hear that. I just had an interview with some guys. One of them was Pencil to Pencil, I think it was, with Mike Manley, who used to be the editor of Draw magazine for Tomorrows. Tomorrows is a great outfit. They do such good books. So I was on this podcast with them, live, I think. Yes, live, a couple days ago. They were mentioning, and I too was mentioning the way I don't conform to normal teaching or behavioral standards. It's just not the way I was cut out. So whatever you see that's um, priceless information, that's why you're getting it that way. This guy wrote in with a really good question here. These are all YouTube comments. He wants to know something about oil. He says, with oil, can you cheat? Um, Using acrylics, this is a good letter right here. Use acrylics and then overlay oils. The white acrylics will be dry. This saves me time. All the painting will be oil on the surface. So that's oil over acrylic. And a practice painting is below. So he sent something in right here. Acrylics dry super quick. Yes, they do. Can you use opposite colors? Yes, you can. Let it show through. To take the last question first, right here. Let it go through. That's when something can see through the stroke that you just put on top is called glazing. And the way that works is some people will do, if you're doing a red face or figure of some kind, you can do a green underpainting, and then you can glaze a red on top of that, and it comes out to kind of a neutral red. With the green, there is the neutralizer. As far as cheating on oil, that's not cheating. That's just a smart way to go about the procedure. A lot of people just go in with acrylic because it dries fast as an underpainting. And then once they get the tones and different colors established, then you can go and use your oil paint and work with oil paint the way you feel most natural using it. Look at Hound Dog here. Hound Dog is having a great time sneezing. Hound Dog is a sneezer. All blowhards do this. They like to rub in their backs. Kenneth Taylor, a name that I can actually pronounce. What do you do with them? Eventually finish the paintings or leave it the way it is? You are the dude and you inspire very well. I think he's talking about this painting right here. What do I do with my paintings eventually once I finish them? If I can correct the terminology here. Well, first they have to be finished. That's an achievement in itself. And then they're mostly up for sale. If you want to find out about that, just go to the website. You guys know how to do that better than I do. From across the metaverse, whatever that means, from Manuel Tavares. Hi, Steve. I'm always curious. Why do you paint or draw Batman's ears like that, painting to the sides instead of the real vertical ones like Neil Adams? Very great question. I'll be answering that in a second. What's your influence on that? I love the way you paint. Thanks. Thanks, Manuel. Um, I do the ears on the side because if you look at the original Batman, his ears were to the side, and that's why I do them like that. Because I happen to think that's a different way of doing things, that the way everyone else does it, and I always like going back to the original source material um, to base my up-to-date versions on. So that's part of how I like to do it. But yeah, Neil always did the ears up straight up. My influence, yeah, okay, another way to paint, thanks. Black Holson, right. Question for Steve. How do you feel about golden acrylics? I've been told they are similar to working with oils in regard to the drawing time. Are they still an easily attainable paint? Would you recommend them? Golden acrylics, there's two kind of paints that are, or there's three kinds. There's the normal thick acrylics that you guys all know, they come from the tubes, and then there's something called So Smooth, a name I told them to change, but they weren't listening to me. A big shame. That's a new kind of acrylic paint that is very, very smooth. So I guess that works. And then there's God, I keep forgetting the damn name of these things right here. It's it's their. All right, let me go look. I found it. I realized I found it before I even got over there. It's the golden fluid acrylics, and these are a lot like cell vinyl paints that I used to use when they still made them. The cell vinyl paints started back in the 50s and they continued up until the 80s, and then they dropped out. Let's make it the 90s, okay, just to be safe. But they dropped out. They couldn't compete with the modern things that were coming in. The store was the cell vinyl operation was actually started by a guy named Pruitt Carter, I think his name was. And then no, maybe there was an animator that came along. I think that was. Let me think. What's his name? I know it, but can I find it in time? All right. Well, I'll think about that. Okay, but he was an animator, and they wanted to invent a paint other than gouache that is not something that really sticks to the back of cells that well, or tempera, same thing. So they had to invent a vinyl paint, which is like acrylic because acrylic is acrylic. So it's a sheen. It's a type of covering that is very durable. The cell vinyl paint. Vinyl is kind of like a cousin to the acrylic resin stuff that acrylics are made out of. So they invented that to for the animation industry, and people all the studios ordered it by the thousands. If you look at old um, pictures of the Disney studios, Disney always had their own kind of paint, though. They were really determined to get a paint that was even more well ground than even the cell vinyls. They would ground the paint particles in their various, what do they call them? Their vehicles. That's a fancy word for just, putting it in water or something like that, or vinyl or whatever. And they would ground them so well that the paint was really smooth. Probably like the very smooth, the smooth paint um, uh, that the golden acrylics people are using. Do they call it smooth, or is that my name? I think that's my name, which is the smarter of the two. Anyway, you guys can find that it's in these big jars, okay, little jars and big jars. So getting back to this, answering this question right here for Black Holson about the golden acrylics, I've been told they are similar to working with oils. I'm sure you've been told that, but oil is oil. It's different than anything there is, simply by virtue of the drying time. You can you can achieve a bulky stroke with best with the regular tube acrylics. Um, the other ones are meant to go on smoother without seeing a lot of uh, trails of brush marks. But try them; they're all great things that people are inventing, and as long as we keep buying them, they can keep making them. Drying time is instant on these acrylics. It's basically a minute or so. Um, are they still an easily attainable paint? Yes, they are. So go out and buy them. I'm really big on the golden acrylics people because I'm in touch with them all the time. And unlike a lot of friends that I know, they always get back to me right away. Jim Gillespie writes in and says, any tips on using pastels? I tried them out for the first time in a few years and I was not crazy about the result. People, let me tell you, when you're not crazy about the result, you haven't been shown how to use them properly. And that's the job of a teacher. There's a lot of ways you can learn these things online. Um, it's the second best way of being in a class with a real teacher using the real medium like pastels and demonstrating them. And then when he demonstrates them, you try reusing them, and he'll come around and if he's a good teacher, he'll tell you how to correct yourself. And you go from having an awful time and a very frustrating time to um, it being a lot easier to manage. But yes, it's all about training. Um, I think everything is frustrating when you start out. But remember how we all made it. We kept working on this stuff. We kept going until we finally got a hold of this stuff and were able to make it work. At least to the point where we were successful enough to keep wanting to work more with it. Robert Berman wrote in, and this is what I'm looking at right now. He had a couple questions here. Is that a video screen behind Sundra, some camera that is filming their escape, or is it a reflection in a window? I meant for it to be a camera capturing their escape. I talked about it with Gino, and Gino said it doesn't make sense. But that's my math brain right there working. And the second question: what do the red streaks across her face and hair indicate? Are they color highlights, or do they indicate something else? They're supposed to be cast shadows from the hair. That wouldn't be the way it looks, but I thought I like cast shadows that go across the face like that, at least to indicate them, and that's what they're supposed to be. If they're not the right color, they look like scars or something else. So I probably could have made them a little lighter and maybe reduced the red a little bit to make them more dull. You ready for critiques, guys? Okay, we got a couple here. This is from Tanner Manning. This is very good work. I don't know what the age of Tanner, but this is well on his way to becoming another GM lead. I can tell that he really likes doing what he's doing here. Um, he's got the kind of talent um, that will carry him through because I'm sure that he wants to keep going till he's better and better. One thing I can tell you about this piece right here is that if you look at it like this, everything is gray. Um, so what you need to fix that is take some of this dark right here and put it in him so he stands out. Ian McClellan, turn these in right here. This is kind of cool. This kind of looks like a Kirby guy right here. I would say that Ian is in kind of the middle stage of his path towards excellence. Um, he's got the right stuff going on, and I think if you can see that somebody has the right stuff, then he stands a very good chance of going past that into the pro ranks. So, Ian, just keep going with it. Okay, you're doing a good job here. Okay, well that's going to wrap it up here for today. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks for writing in, guys. And I don't know how other to say it except you're helping me do what I want to do most, which is working on Nexus nonstop. I love the commissions that come in. Um, you guys have been great about ordering some really doozy commissions here, so I'm excited to be working on those as I work on Nexus stuff at the same time. So all you can do is say I appreciate what you're doing, and it's wonderful to know that no one really has to be doing this, and you are anyway. So a higher compliment I wouldn't know how to classify. So that's it for today's live stream, and I'll see you next week, okay, for another broadcast. And I look forward to hearing from you guys what you think about the one that's taking place now. Take care. Be a good oil painter. We'll see you soon.